Imagine you're a worm, not the kind that's squiggling on the sidewalk, but the kind that lives in guts. Your home is the plush intestinal villi of King Richard III. Why not? You get 3 royal meals a day, goblets of wine. Life is pretty good. Suddenly, there's a new worm on the block. Very colorful, calling a lot of attention on itself. Is that an influencer worm? Might want to be careful, especially if it's living in a host that has an immune system patrolling for foreigners. And sure enough, here they come, the police force of the immune system. Dendritic cells, T cells, eosinophils, that guy is toast. Wait, that's terrifying because that can happen to me at any moment. And sure enough, here they come. Where is Obi-Wan Kenobi when you need him to say there's nothing to see here? Wait, that worked. Am I a Jedi worm? Because for some reason, I'm fine. Let's just recap that, okay? Because number one, we were just worms living in human intestines. Number two, some of those worms got pulverized, but some of those worms, thankfully, like myself, sprinkled some kind of magic fairy dust or something that helped us to evade host detection and calm those angry cells. That's a lot to take in. So why don't we look at it from a different point of view? Let's go a couple million years back to the dawn of human evolution. Let's think about maybe our earliest human ancestors hunched over in the grasslands of Africa. And fast forward through the scroll bar of time, a couple million years, to when they were standing upright. Fast forward some more to when they were discovering tools, discovering fire. Fast forward a little bit more, a couple more million years to modern day humans living in apartments, ordering lattes, doom scrolling, and watching TED Talks. That was a long period of time that we just covered. But let's go back again to the very beginning and realize this. Gutworms have been living in human intestines that whole time. Fast forward again through that entire scroll bar of time. What have they been doing in there? Well, let's just think like a worm. I don't know about you, but when I see myself as a gutworm, see myself trying to find a nice intestinal nook, somewhere nice and soft, like a pink futon, that where my goals are just to be left alone in peace and to eat food. That's pretty good, right? But what I want you to see is not a gutworm. What I want you to see is a problem solver. Just like you and me, we have problems to solve under constraints, limited time, limited energy, limited resources. And if you think about it, all living organisms are evolving solutions to their problems. The way that flowers evolved pollen to attract bees, the way that squid evolved ink to confuse its predators and swim the other way, and the way that bacteria evolved CRISPR to keep a molecular mugshot of its enemies and slice them if they ever see them again, right? And the same way that gutworms quietly, invisibly evolved ways of helping to calm an overactive immune system. I mean, not down to zero, because the host is their home and they need them to have an immune system, right? So how would the worms go about doing that? Let's go on a journey inside the worm. And I'm talking about at a cellular level. Imagine yourself inside the cell, and now we're watching proteins and they're making compounds, asking, does this compound help to calm an overactive immune system? Yes or no? Does this compound help to decrease the total number of bazookas held by those angry cells? I'm not talking about conscious proteins. But I am talking about proteins, and they very much are working in living biochemical factories. What's your memory of the oldest factory? Probably like 1800s, right? Black and white footage, coal-powered factories with steam rising, people wearing aprons. Feels so ancient, right? Guys, that was less than 200 years ago. What I'm talking about are worm factories that have been operating for millions of years, longer than the time of ancient pyramids, longer than the time of T-Rex. So with all that time, it shouldn't surprise us that the worms did it. They achieved their goals. They were able to help calm an overactive immune system. And here are examples from all over the world, papers published all over the world, showing that they can actually decrease inflammation, improve metabolism, even improve fertility and longevity. So from looking at this, the next idea should be inevitable. How do we borrow those tools to use it to help all the people out there suffering from inflammation? There are millions of people out there with allergic or autoimmune disease, or if they have something like asthma or Crohn's or rheumatoid, for some reason their lungs or their guts or their joints have an immune response dialed up to 11. So how can we find the molecules that these worms are making and turn them into medicine? Okay, let's go on another journey. You and I, we're going to go find it, okay? Now we're back in the worm factory. We're standing in front of a vat of worm secretions. This time we're filtering out the worms because we want to just figure out what they're making. What are the compounds in there that could really help us? The problem is there's a lot of molecules in there, like thousands. How do we find the Holy Grail? Do you remember that scene in Indiana Jones where he goes into a cave and he sees all these goblets and cups? You hear a voice, "You must choose wisely." How do we choose wisely? My big idea is this: not to look for the molecule, but to look for the pattern. And that's exactly what we did. For my doctoral work at Caltech, we looked at worm secretions, and amongst them, we found a signal in the noise, a pattern. And what I mean by pattern is a set of molecules where you notice that there's something uniquely similar about them, some small differences. And then you could just look at that set. You line them up, and they kind of look like letters of the alphabet. So what you could do is you can start synthesizing them individually, testing them individually. And what scientists found was that some of those molecules sent the worms into hibernation to survive the hard times. Some of those molecules helped the worms communicate with plants. Some of those molecules were used by fungi to eavesdrop on worms to know that they're there. Super interesting. And some of those molecules, lo and behold, were responsible for calming overactive immune cells. Bingo! And we're going to take this discovery and that story and save that for another day, because today I want to tell you about how we got to the secret sauce. We found the pattern in the noise. From there, we discovered the worm atlas, written over millions of years. It's pretty cool, right? Worm language? But what's even cooler is that everything must have a language. Everything in nature must have a language. We just haven't been looking for it. And history supports this. You probably all know somebody that's taken a statin. Have you heard of that drug? Helps to reduce cholesterol. Did you know that that was actually first derived from fungal secretions? And fungi are not there trying to solve for human heart disease. They're busy fighting their own turf wars, trying to stunt the growth of their competitors to take their resources. So they're secreting molecules to block growth compounds like ergosterol. And the part of that word I want you to hear is sterol, because we can borrow those tools to help block a different sterol in humans, cholesterol. And what's really interesting is it wasn't just one species making one molecule. It was a family of molecules that could do this. From that pattern emerged an entire class of drugs that changed the course of human health, helped millions of people. So I wonder if the next breakthrough won't come from something new that's invented in a lab, but rather something that's been millions or billions of years in the making. And we just have to see from the organism's point of view, what are their goals? I wonder if the future of human health, longevity, climate change, sustainability is actually hidden in plain sight in the languages of organisms. So as we wrap up, I want you to take with you one simple idea, is that wonder is the most powerful tool we have. When was the last time you really marveled at an organism, that something really stopped you in its tracks? Whether you were on a walk in nature or you saw something on TV, or maybe it was some beautiful jellyfish that you saw in an aquarium. My challenge to you is to realize how long they have been on this planet. Think about how long they have been solving problems. Can you see them as not as primitive, but more as experienced? I further challenge you to keep that door open in your mind. Put a little doorstop there. Keep it open even after you leave this talk. Does that doorway help you see organisms differently? Does it help you to think about our ecosystem differently, our shared ecosystem, our shared resources? Does it help you expand your idea of what could even be possible? And does this framework somehow shift your own personal connection to the living world around us? Thank you.